Well, let's talk to our guest about that, whether it's Georgia Tech or it's Michigan or anywhere else on the college basketball landscape. Terrell Thomas, we're going to get your thoughts. And first of all, welcome to the show for the first time, man. How are you doing? How have you been during this pandemic and just life in general?
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing pretty well. I'm glad that we have sports back. I'm glad that we have some things to talk about. This will be a busy March, as you just mentioned, with college hoops. Of course, the All-Star today. So I'm doing good. Once again, thanks for having me.
And I'll acquiesce to Mr. Crenshaw, but real quick, tell us about theseurbantimes.com. This is your site. And
thank you very much.
Yeah, what can we find when we go there?
Okay, so These Urban Times is pretty much the website that's based upon sports, entertainment, and music. We cover everything in the sports realm and in the music realm, as well as movies. We do a lot of movie reviews and things of that nature. So whenever you're looking for the latest sports updates, entertainment updates, or music news, you can check out theseurbantimes.com.
Terrell, hey, this is Sam, man. Welcome to the show. Great to have you on. I'm on your Twitter feed, and I see what you posted. The reason why all these people in the streets in town are these lemon pepper wings you posted a picture of. So tell me, what's the vibe on the street this weekend? I mean, they're tying up traffic. I'm ready for these folks to leave, but have you been out there, and what's it been like?
I've gotten out slightly just to make a few errand runs, and I've seen a lot of madness out there. It seems like a lot of out-of-towners are here to celebrate and party this weekend. I'm with you 100%. I'm ready to be able to drive down 75, 85 with as minimal traffic as possible. But it does seem like a lot of folks are here looking to celebrate the unofficial All-Star events.
Both y'all sound like get off my grass dudes. Go ahead, Sam.
So what do you vibe for this weekend? I mean, the game has come along. Nobody can go and see the game, but your thoughts about the game, being played here, kind of thrown together, no representation from the local team, but a good cause with HBCUs.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. Initially, I was kind of sour. I didn't understand why they would still go through with the game if we couldn't have fans there, if there would be minimal people inside the building. I am glad that it's here in Atlanta. I heard what Commissioner said about, Turner being right up the road and the convenience of having it here in the Atlanta area. I want to give a lot of love to State Farm Arena for still being able to put things together and house it. I do think it was kind of makeshift. I agree with you right there. Initially, of course, the All-Star game was slated to be in Indianapolis. It was canceled, and then, of course, about a month or so ago, the NBA did decide to go ahead and have it. As a fan and a lover of basketball, however, I am excited. I am looking forward to the events this evening. I'm looking forward to see how it all plays out with the skill challenge and three-point shootout being pregame and then having a dunk contest at halftime. So as we get closer and closer to the time, I am getting excited for the game.
Sam and Greg, Sports Radio.
It does suck, however, though, no Hawks.
Well, yeah, that's true. Sam and Greg, Sports Radio, 92.9 The Game, 92.9thegame.com. Joined by Terrell Thomas. TheseUrbanTimes.com is where you can find his work. I want to go back to college for a second because something happened this past week. History was made this past week for the first time. And as we approach March Madness, I want to get your thoughts on some of the teams. But did you know that we have a college coach who has won a championship, a conference championship, as both a player and a coach? And it happened this past week.
No, I did not.
I'm hearing crickets. Juwan Howard was a Fab Five member, right? And they just won the Big Ten championship. So he won it as a member of the Fab Five. Okay, he won it as a member of the Fab Five. I thought Sam would jump in here. And then also as a coach. But I was looking to see if that was the only time that happened. The only time that happened was in football, and it was Gene Stallings who did it at Texas A&M. He was one of the Junction boys. But he did it as a coach and a player. But my point for saying this is there are stories surrounding college basketball this year going into the tournament that aren't related to the pandemic. And my question to you, Terrell, is what are you seeing as far as some of the teams? And we got some of the usual suspects as far as Gonzaga, but also some of the usual suspects aren't as powerful as they once were, the Kentuckys, the Dukes, the Michigan States. What is your thoughts on college basketball as we head into March Madness?
Well, that's been the biggest surprise for me this year. The so-called blue bloods haven't had the success that they've had in years past. I have been highly impressed with everything that Juwan is doing in Michigan, rebuilding that brand and getting Michigan back to being a powerhouse in the NCAA. I got to tip my hat also to the young men and young women who have been participating this year because, of course, as we all know, the season is quite different than what we've seen in the past. But I think it'll be a very interesting tournament because with us not having some of the well-known teams doing well, I think we'll get a surprise champion this year, and we'll get a chance to check out some programs who normally wouldn't be highlighted. Baylor's doing pretty well. I got my eye on Villanova to see how things shake out there. But overall, I have been impressed with Michigan, and I heard Sam mention the Georgia Tech earlier to begin the segment. I have been impressed with everything that GT has been doing as well.
Spending time on the waitforit.com hotline with Terrell Thomas. You can follow him. He is social at Eldorado 2452. Eldorado 2452. Hawks coaching change out of the blue, or did you see it coming?
Yeah, unfortunately, I saw it coming, and I was one of the folks. Once Coach McMillan was kind of brought to the staff, I wondered how long Coach Pierce would be able to hang and keep things going if they weren't able to start off the season strong. So being as though the Hawks started off pretty poor at 14-20 with all the expectations of them making the playoffs this season and the new roster that was brought in, Trae Young having another year under his belt, I think that the expectations for the Hawks were so high that it was kind of one of those situations where if Coach Pierce didn't succeed immediately, we would end up where we are. I think it's an unfortunate situation because Lloyd Pierce was doing a lot of great things off the court. However, we realized he was paid for the things that the Hawks do on the court. And unfortunately, they weren't able to find success during his time. But I think Coach McMillan is the right man for the job right now. We'll see how far it goes, if there's any extensions and things like that. I do believe a new voice was needed in the locker room. So I can say that, yeah, I pretty much saw that this was coming. I didn't think it would come this soon. I was a little surprised that it happened before the All-Star break. But I guess the way the Hawks started off, no one was pleased, so a change was needed.
By the way, I misspoke earlier. I posed that question wrong, or statement. I should have said they almost got to the Big Ten championship, but Michigan, Juwan never won a Big Ten championship in the Fab Five. Anyway, having said that, Sam and I earlier talked about this Hawks team and what it's going to take, so I'll ask you, to make this a destination spot for top free agents. What do they have to put around Trae Young? Either long-term coach, if it's not Nate McMillan, or one other component for this to be a destination?
I think we're slowly starting to see that. Now, I guess to the common NBA fan, the names of Bogey and Gallinari, Rondo being a little older, of course, we haven't seen Chris Dunn. Those names may not be the glaring names, but I think that the Hawks did have a lot of success this season in free agency. I believe a lot of players want to play with Trae Young, so I think being able to keep Trae Young here, continuing to have him grow. I do believe a well-known coach. I think a gentleman like Nate McMillan or another seasoned coach, if they do decide to go another way after this season, I think that will continue to make Atlanta a hot spot. We see what they're doing with State Farm Arena. We see all the facilities in which Tony has been building or improving. So I definitely think Tony and the ownership group has everything in place to make this a top destination. Of course, the city of Atlanta is already a great place to live. Wonderful food, wonderful things to do with the family. So I believe we're moving in the right direction as far as Atlanta being a top-tier team, a top-tier city to come play. Of course, we'll never be a L.A. or New York. We're just not that big of a market. But outside of those two destinations, I can see in the next offseason coming up and moving forward that Atlanta will be that spot to come.
Spending time on the waitforit.com hotline with Terrell Thomas. These urban times, talking basketball and entertainment, sports and entertainment. You can compare both of them. Going into the second half, that said, once all this is done today and everybody leaves and the Hawks get back to business, I think the best thing for the Hawks to do by being excluded from the proceedings is really take it out on the rest of the league. Some people are going to get healthy. And talk about the fact that the new coaches coming in as some vital pieces are getting healthy and back in the lineup.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. I think that's the best thing that possibly could have came along for the Hawks right now during this time of the season was this actual All-Star break. Once again, it does suck that we don't have any members of the Hawks on the All-Star team or even participating in any of the other festivities. But I do believe that we'll see a motivated Trae Young. We've seen Bogey is getting healthy. Rondo is getting healthy. We'll be able to see where DeAndre Hunter stands by March 19th. He'll be reevaluated March 19th. His knee is improving. I think getting that young man back on the court who was having a phenomenal sophomore season will also help the Hawks tremendously. If we can continue to see Rondo, I feel like in these past 3 games or 2 games with Coach McMillan, and even before Coach Pierce was relieved of his duties when Coach Pierce missed a few games due to the birth of his child, I see a different Rondo under Coach McMillan. So hopefully he's able to help teach and help lead some of the younger guys moving forward. But I do think that the Hawks right now are in a very pivotal space. They're only about 3 games out of 8th and really about 4 games out of 5th. So they're not too far behind. They have a few teams in which they need to leapfrog. And, of course, this year also 10 teams will get into the playoffs because of the 2 play-in games and stuff like that. So they have a very strong chance of still making the postseason. I think they are getting healthy at the right time. I think the return of DeAndre Hunter, if and when he's able to return, will be very, very key.
Terrell, we're going to call you again. Yeah, you just plan on getting up on some Sunday mornings because we're going to call you again and have you on the show. You've been great this morning, man. We appreciate it. Even though I started this off with misinformation, you saved us. So I want to thank you. Again, Terrell Thomas, theseurbantimes.com. You can check out his work, and he will be coming back on the show as a voice, well, not only in sports, but also in entertainment. So we can't wait to have you back.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Man.
Have a great day.
Thank you.